Hey YouTube, here again to talk about things going on in the world around us. I am in my kitchen and I'm holding my camera because the lighting's great in here and I'm too lazy to set up lights and a tripod. And I don't have much to talk about, but I wanted to get this video out for a couple reasons. First and foremost, it's been a couple weeks since the election. My last video was a reaction to Donald Trump's election, the night of the election. And I wasn't surprised there was protests, I wasn't surprised there were riots, I'm not surprised there's internet division, but I am surprised it's still happening. You have every right to protest, and if you're rioting, I can see why. But the internet division's kind of getting old, everybody. There are a lot of people still pointing fingers, and a lot of people still calling people sexist, there's a lot of people still calling people racist, there's a lot of fear-mongering, and a lot of hate spewing that's still happening on the internet. And this is kind of being perpetuated by the media because outlets like CNN and MSNBC are perpetuating that Donald Trump is like worse than he actually is. I know Donald Trump sucks. We all know this. But he didn't win the election because racist, and he didn't win the election because of sexist. And if you believe that, you need to take a deep breath and think about how much sense that actually makes. There are absolutely people in this country who voted for Donald Trump because they didn't want a woman in office, and there are absolutely people who are racist and chose to vote for Donald Trump because some of his positions could be perceived as racist. But it's very important to realize that Hillary Clinton sucks, and that's part of why Donald Trump won the election. If you want more information on that, you refer to my other video because I talk about that more in depth. But I just want to implore everyone out there in the internet world that things aren't black and white, things aren't right and left. Things are gray, and we need to stop seeing everyone who doesn't agree with you as your enemy. The best thing for our country right now is to really have productive conversations and understand why people think the way they do. We need to accept that there are differences in opinion and differences in thought between people, and not hate someone because they don't believe what you believe. And that goes for Trump supporters as well. Just because you have someone calling you a racist doesn't mean you block them or defriend them. It means you talk to them calmly, because we really, same for you lefties, we're not going to change the hearts and minds of those we love by calling them names. And really, this is a defining moment for the United States. We need to rise above the hate. We need to really love people, and not by waving signs in people's faces, spray painting people's cars. We need to love people by really genuinely caring for who they are, what's in their heart, and what's in their minds. And all that being said is, again, it's a defining moment. It's fine to disagree with Trump, but we cannot just be blinded by a lot of the mentality of the left-right paradigm. We need to open our minds and make allies in this fight. And we need to defy Trump when he does something that needs opposition, not just all the time, otherwise it becomes white noise. Like Muslim internment. I hope that doesn't happen. We need to stop it if it does. And we need to really focus on major issues. Standing Rock, I think, is a very big issue. I haven't talked about that yet, but regardless of what you believe, and regardless of Native American land, or regardless of the land rights, and regardless of the need for oil, we can't allow police to abuse people anymore, and that is absolutely unacceptable. And for the last point of this video, because I told you I'd keep it short and we're already past 5 minutes, this will be the last point, is I heard one of the greatest podcasts I've ever heard of all time. On the Joe Rogan Experience, he had a guest named Jordan Peterson, who's a professor at a university in Canada. And he is on the front lines of the battle to preserve free speech. I'm not going to say much about it, but I will say he is in opposition to Bill C-16, which is a bill which basically states that you can charge someone with a crime if they refer to someone as the wrong gender pronoun. And within the language of the bill, they put 33 different ways of referring to someone's gender, and not just him or her or they, but Zed and other words that are made up by gender studies professors. Unacceptable and completely authoritarian, overreaching and completely nebulous. A nutshell on why Jordan Peterson's putting up such a fight is that universities are being preemptive for this bill. If the bill turns into law, they're sending him cease and desist letters for not referring to students with the correct gender pronouns and for making videos talking about why that's a bad idea. And I'll let him do the talking, so I provided the link below in the description. So be sure to check that out, because we really need allies in the battle for free speech. And by the battle for free speech, I don't mean the ability to be a dick to people, although I'm all for open discourse. I mean the battle for free speech, like you shouldn't be charged for what you say unless you're literally threatening someone. And unfortunately, in the language of the bill of C-16, which I know it's in Canada, but something like this can always happen in the United States, regardless of the First Amendment. The bill does state using the incorrect gender pronoun as a form of hate speech, which is an aggression, even if it's a microaggression. So completely unacceptable. Sorry this one ended up a little longer. If you watched it this far, thank you for sticking with me. And keep it locked right here on this channel. If you haven't yet, spot me a subscribe below, and I'll catch you at our next one.
It almost seemed like, when I was watching some of the debates that you've engaged in, it almost seems like they're politicians. It almost seems like they're wetting their finger and going with the breeze. There's some conversations that you had that were just, I had to stop and rewind them because I couldn't believe the arguments. There was a woman, or I don't know, it was a...